1990 Corvette ZR1 coupe.
Last time on Fully Vetted.
It was C1s and C2, but he had found this car, knew about it, so he went and we did the deal, and he shipped it up here, and it arrived Christmas Day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right on. I didn't expect it on Christmas Day. I thought it'd be 2 to 3 weeks to get here, and we're opening presents in the house, and knock, 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 and oh.
In this episode, we continue with Steve Kalm and his Evolution collection of Corvettes. Up next, the legendary King of the Hill 1990 C4 ZR1. Good morning, Steve.
Morning.
Welcome back to Fully Vetted.
Thank you.
We're again in your garage with your Evolution collection of Corvettes. Today we're going to be talking about your C4. Now tell me about the history of the C4 ZR1.
Well, this is the first year they ever did the ZR1. So
Okay.
This is the 1990. And it's a special everything, special motor, special suspension, the body's wider. There's a lot of different things on this that make it a special car. And it was the fastest production car in America that year. They called it the King of the Hill, right? That's what this car is a great example of that. It's all original car. They almost didn't make the C4. And I don't know if you've heard the story of the one that's at the Corvette Museum, how it lasted and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool that continuously made car. And this is the one that changed it for General Motors, because this is what all modern cars are based on, right? The suspension, it's not the solid axle anymore. It's really changed. When you drive the C3 and you drive the C4, night and day difference.
Night and day difference.
Night and day
I can
difference.
attest to that. So let's go into a little bit of the history of what you said about the 1983 Corvette. What is the history behind the car?
They had they built a few, right? And they were really late in the development cycle, from what I understand. And they almost didn't make any, right? Because they all new platform, all new everything. It took them so long to develop that they were late for the model year. And so they just said, bag 1983, we're just going to go to 84. So the big production of them was in 84, but they did make a few in 83, and they were supposed to be demolished, and they actually sent a company out to crush the cars, the test cars that they have. And somehow, some way, one of them got stuck behind the facility, and it just sat there for years. And a new general manager came into the plant, was walking around one day just to get familiar with the plant, and what is that car that's back there behind the building? And they went out and all looked at it and went, wow, it's an 83, and it's the only one, so it's in the museum now. If you ever get a chance to go see it, it's pretty cool, right? But Corvette gets to keep the longest production run sports car because of that mishap. Right?
Because of that one car, yeah, that's pretty awesome, yeah. And if I remember the story correctly, it had something to do with one of the engineers took it home the night before, and then they crushed the other cars while it was at his place, and when he came back the next day, they thought they were done. Yeah. So that's how it got. Yeah. It's a unicorn. There's no doubt about it. It's an absolute unicorn. Yeah. And so the C4 had a lot of, like you were saying, revolutionary technology that came onto it. It was basically the beginning of the supercar. So that was 1984. Mm-hmm. This is in 1990. And let's go over the difference between the early C4s and this King of the Hill, as you mentioned, car, and what is so spectacular about it. Well, I mean, let's go over the body. Let's go over the tires, the wheels, the motor.
This is starting in the front. The hood is a clamshell, which they've never done before, right? So the whole thing lifts up, and you can see the motor and the suspension and everything. Really, one of the easiest cars to work on. But if you ever mess up the hood, it's very, very expensive to replace, because it's a good half of the car, right? They had the OptiSpark, right? And that later years became a problem, because every time that you had any leakage from the radiator, it dripped right down on that part and messed it up. So it had a few design flaws. This one with the ZR1 motor, the starter motor is actually inside the cavity of the motor. So you got to take the whole top end of the motor apart if you ever have to replace it.
Didn't know that.
And
wow.
And this one's getting to the point, if I drive this a long way and it gets kind of hot under there, it won't start until I let it cool. So it needs to be done, and that's on my list of things to do, but it's a big job, so I'm going to take it to my mechanic and have him do that job.
I can imagine that. Now, how long have you owned this car?
I've owned about 6 years.
6 years, and it's a 1990.
1990.
Okay, cool. What was the history of how you came to own this car?
This was for sale on KSL.com, and I called the guy. He had it in storage at a friend's garage that was buried under a bunch of stuff or something, right? And it had been there for years and years and years and years. And so it took him about a month to finally undig it and get it out. And I drove the other car we're going to look at today to see it, right? Because it's also a ZR1. I thought it'd be kind of fun. I saw it, I loved it. He had to take it and have some work done on it. So I told him who to take it to. And while it was at the shop getting some work done on it, I took another friend of mine who has a black one of these, and he knows these cars very, very well. I took him, and me and him actually took the NCRS judging guide, and we did a judging ourselves on the car while it was at the shop, so that I knew everything was original and everything was in place and everything was how it was supposed to be. So we spent an entire day going over this car. So, and after that, I bought the car, and here it is.
The history of the ZR1 begins in 1970. The original ZR1 package was a high-performance option for the C3 Corvette, featuring an LT1 engine and costing around $1,000. This Zora Racer's tribute was named after Zora Arcus Duntov, the father of the Corvette. The C4 ZR1 was produced from 1990 to 1995. The ZR1 package was originally a performance icon in the 1990s and helped to re-establish the Corvette as a world-class performance car. Powered by a 5.7-liter double overhead cam V8 engine known as the LT5, it initially produced 375 horsepower and was increased to 405 horsepower in 1993. The LT5 and the C4 Corvette ZR1 was engineered by GM and Lotus, then machined and assembled by Mercury Marine's Marine Cruiser Division in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The GM Lotus tie-up came about in 1986 when General Motors had acquired Group Lotus. Thanks to the engineering marvel that was the LT5, the C4 Corvette ZR1 was incredibly quick for its time, hitting 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.4 seconds and the quarter mile in 12.7 seconds. Top speed was over 180 miles per hour. It was so quick that it set 7 international and world records. The ZR1 option cost $27,000 in 1990, in addition to the base price of the almost $32,000 for a standard Corvette. By 1991, the package price had increased to over $31,000 and remained at that price through 1995 when the last ZR1 was produced. Chevrolet sold 6,922 ZR1s, with the last one rolling off the assembly line in Bowling Green, Kentucky in 1995. The C4 ZR1 was too expensive to succeed, but too good to ignore. The legend continues with the C6 and C7 ZR1, and the world eagerly awaits the debut of the 2025 C8 ZR1, rumored to hit the road in the fall of 2024.
The benefits of being an NCRS judge.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you.
awesome. All right, that's very cool. Okay, so is there anything special about this car, being that it's a first off, okay, to add it to your collection? What is it that keeps you excited about this car? Is it something that you'll probably hang on to for a while, being that it's very, very, very rare?
Yeah, it is. It's a very special car. It's basically the start of really, General Motors having almost track-ready cars, right? I mean, this was the idea. You can buy a race car and drive it on the street. That's the point of this car. And it's just got a lot of really cool features, and they're pushing the envelope. It also has inside digital gauges, with the funky lights and stuff, and that's cool. Just sitting in there, I mean, it's really, 90s. You want to put your bell bottoms on and stuff, and you can do that, right? And,
there you go.
And drive the car. It has a very high seal for the floor and for the body structure. Okay, it comes up about this far on the car, so you have to kind of step in and then fall down into it. And the emergency brake, it's on all of the Corvettes, has been up here for the older ones. This is the only one where it's over here on this side. But when it was in the up position, you couldn't get out of the car. So it actually has a release that you have to release, and then it goes back on the floor. It's a good design. It's a little tight. It's probably the hardest one to get in and out of far as Corvettes go. So if you're really old and your legs don't bend too much, this probably isn't the car for you.
Now, did they make this one in a convertible, or is it just a coupe?
You couldn't get the ZR1 in the convertible, but they did make convertibles.
So is red your favorite color?
No, it's not, but if you're gonna have a ZR1 first year of any car,
Red is the color to have.
You know.
That's awesome.